Are we live?
We're live.
All right.
I need to get my air guitar out.
I like the music.
Thank you. And we should give a shout out to Chris Stone, who created that amazing video for us. So thank you, Chris. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in for another episode of the Tim and Jim Show. I am here in Northeast Pennsylvania with the Bears and the Turkeys. And not my family, because they're at school and work. And my business is Sown Social Media Solutions, as it says over there yonder. And I'm delighted to be here today with our guest and my trusty co-host, Jim. Take it away, my friend.
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. Jim Fuse, Infusion Marketing. Very excited to be here. And I'm very intrigued with our guest, as we were talking before the show, Amber Griffiths, because she's going to be talking about making legends. And as I told her, my daughter, University of Alabama, where legends are made. This is just a perfect storm for me today. So Tim, why don't you tell us a little bit about Amber, or should we just let her tell us herself about herself?
I think we should let her tell herself about herself, since she's the expert in this stuff. So I did have the opportunity. She was on our friend who's in the comments, Amy Iram. She was on her show yesterday. So, hey, Amy. But Amber, tell us about yourself, what you do, and how did you get interested in this whole legends thing?
Oh my goodness, that's a lot of stories. That's a lot of questions.
In a nutshell.
In a nutshell, very quickly, 30 words or less. Amber Griffiths, my company is Your Brand by Design. I am a brand strategist and a maker of legends. I help you create a brand that takes you from unknown to unforgettable. Is that enough of it? Isn't that a great tagline? But really, it's about creating something greater than yourself. It's about realizing that without, and especially becoming a legend, if you are not delivering an experience that matters, you will not be remembered by your clientele. You do not get to have the connections and the cash flow and all that good stuff without developing a persona that sets you on the path to legend. So that's why I do what I do.
That is incredible. And how did you get interested in doing this? What led you to that?
I think it started because I was working, I started as a graphic designer. My degree is in branding and marketing, but I watched all these businesses come in and they would last for 6 months and then they would disappear. And I thought, well, it's not because your flyers aren't great. I mean, we're talking 20 years ago. So, printed flyers, if you remember back when. But they were just kind of coming and going. And when I would speak to them, I was in charge of some of their marketing, their branding starting. And I could tell really quickly if they were going to make it or if they were just going to be gone, because they were like, no. I've got corporate branding. They've got my logo. I'm fine. I'm good. I thought, well, there's 300 of you just in this office with that same logo. So how are you actually setting yourself apart? How are you imprinting on the hearts of your people? And so I thought, this is the time when I get to step out of this one single company, this one industry, and start helping specifically entrepreneurs, because you pour your heart and soul into this, and then you don't get to make the impact you want. You don't get to get your message out there. There's so many people out there who have a message that the world absolutely must hear. And without a brand that makes that impact, you just don't get to share it. So I'm like, I get to help do that. And I love it. I love it.
Well, that's amazing. And it certainly comes through in your branding. So we're very excited to have you here. For everyone who's tuning in, thank you so much for being here. We're here with Amber Griffiths. And we're delighted to have you here. So if you have any questions for her throughout the show, please put them down below in the comments. I'm sure she'd be happy to answer them for you. So Jim, why don't you take away question number 1?
Yeah. So Amber, what is a persona anyway? And how do you figure it out for your brand? Because, we're always scared when people say, well, I want to get in front of everyone, because everyone is really no one.
Right. It is one of those, you can't be everything to everyone. You end up being no one to anyone. So you must be someone amazing to someone specific. So I think that's the tail end of that part that nobody ever talks about. A persona, it's one of the pillars of your brand. So there are other pieces of it, but it's the big one, and it's the one that gets to show up first. And your persona is so many things. It's all the things, as I tell people. It's your languaging, your visuals, your mannerisms, your legend response system, which is one of my favorite topics. But it also goes into your relationship with some of your greatest resources. So your relationship with money, with cash flow, how often do you talk about it? Do you talk about it right up front? Do you say, you have this really great conversation with a potential client and then say, I'll email you a proposal, because you're so worried about having the cash conversation right then that I'll just email you. I'll just come in the back way. I'll just talk about it later. Yeah. Oh, Tim, there's no shame or blame in any of that. But your relationship with that is part of your persona, because it determines the relationship your clients will have with you in that area. So it's not just the cash flow, it's all your resources, your time, your talent, your team. All of that goes into saying, this is how I show up. This is how I want to be seen. This is how I want to be felt. This is how I want to be remembered. And that is kind of very pretty package of what your persona is. And I think the coolest part about it is very much like any other piece of your brand. You get to choose. There's no wrong answer as long as it's your choice and it's authentically you, and you just show up consistently. Everywhere you show up like that, then it's golden. Then it wins.
This conversation is perfect because I totally need to work on my brand, because it's something I've been neglecting for probably years. But Jim has recently been working on it. I know you've incorporated, Jim, some of your military experience into your branding. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes, sure. I will do that. And I want to thank Angus Nelson for helping me do that. And that is, I do marketing the Marine Corps way, right? Because there's all kinds of marketers, but how do I differentiate myself? Because I have over 20 years of leadership experience as a United States Marine that I can bring to bear to your company. And we can be surgical, precise, and tactical. And I get right to the point, right? Marines, we adapt and overcome. So that's been something that's been very powerful, especially during these crazy times. But what Angus brought to my attention, and when you think about branding, is there's all kinds of digital marketers. So how do you set yourself apart? Because if you just say, oh, I'm a digital marketer, okay, well, great. Why should I hire you? Well, because I'm a digital marketer. So you really have to come up with a way to set yourself apart. And I can't thank Angus enough for, because I struggled with that. Like, do I bring in my past into my future? Do people really care? And I found that people really like it.
Yeah. Well, first, thank you, by the way, for your service. I appreciate that wholeheartedly. And you're absolutely right. If it's that big of a part of you, why wouldn't you share that? Why wouldn't you incorporate that in everything you're doing? So brilliant. Way to go, you. Congrats.
Thank you.
So Amber.
Yes.
How can we be seen in terms of visuals, our vibe, etc.? Can you talk a little bit in terms of how do we go about doing that?
Let's start with your visuals. That's the easy one. That, of course, includes your logo, your fonts, your colors, which is really foundational. A lot of people tend to stop there, which is kind of the problem. It has to be done. You have to have something so that people can recognize you. If there's a million people in a crowd and I say, oh, there you are, there's your logo, I can see you. That does not mean you're going to buy from me. That does not mean you're going to remember me or how you're going to feel me, but that's where it starts. The other part of visuals, and it kind of goes into your mannerisms as well, is we're all stuck in these little Zoom, SteamYard, whatever cubes, these little Vogue cubes, as I say. What can I see about you? Is your logo back there? Is there a really clear call to action? Is there a subtle call to action? Do you both have something to drink? Do each of you have something to drink by you?
Yeah. Yes.
For
Do you,
just
Jim? What do
funsies?
you have? Cheers.
Take a
Let's
sip.
do a mug shot.
Cheers.
Oh, cheers.
So take
I
a
love
sip
it.
real quick. Now,
There
the
you go.
chances are the way you just did that is the way you always do it. And that's a mannerism. Do you? I notice I will always drink from a straw because I don't want my face covered up. I only have so much real estate and I can only have so much exposure here. I don't want my face to be missing. So how you're doing that is part of your visuals, in addition to the logos, the boot, even though that's chess and that's one of my favorite plays, favorite musicals. It ties in my music background. But there's this also little subtle, I'm going to kind of kick your tushka when we work together. So how you are showing up that way is part of the visuals. You talk about the vibe and like how I can feel you. Are you that rock star informal, like let's just go have coffee together? Or are you kind of that more distant expert, very formal, please submit your questions at the door. I will reach them when in the order they were received. And there's nothing wrong with either way, but you get to decide how that shows up and how you interact so that people know exactly what they're going to expect when they actually come in and experience you.
Absolutely. Wow. Absolutely. And we want to thank everyone who's tuning in yet again. We're here with Amber Griffiths. Hello, Amy Aram. Thank you again for joining us. Linda Ray, a resident guest of the show, says, hey, what do you say? Love Linda Ray.
Right.
You're an expert at rhyming, Linda
Love
Ray.
it.
So Amber, I want to follow up on something that you said too. Do you think there's times, like because of these mannerisms, that maybe we have to become, I guess, self-aware and try to change those mannerisms? Because I know, I've studied Tony Robbins, and he does talk about how some of these habits we can break, but it takes, I think it's about 3 weeks maybe to break some of these habits if we're consistent. I mean, what are your thoughts on that, or do we just live with our mannerisms?
I think your mannerisms are just that expression of yourself. So if it's one of those that is offending people and you're noticing your business dropping off, then maybe take a look at it. I don't have an issue with offending people. My people will love me, and the people who don't like me will never like me. And it doesn't matter how much I talk with my hands or don't talk with my hands. They are like, she's my people, or nope, never will be. She's not my jam. So if there's a mannerisms that you think, wow, I keep doing this and I watch my ideal client walk away, then maybe consider that. But chances are, at least in my experience, if the people who are walking away, they're not yours anyway. Let them go. It's okay. Save yourself the time. That is, neither one of you are going to win in that situation. You're going to have to drag them through it. So realize that your tics, your mannerisms, your little idiosyncrasies, the way you say things, because it's not just what you say, it's how you say them, right? I talk about all the things and I always get I can feel it. There's a little quirk in my jaw when I say it because I know what that means to me. It's all the things is really all the things. That's going to resonate, and it's part of your charm. It's part of what makes you you. And the people who are going to love it are going to love you so big, so big.
That is so important. You hit on something that I think we all have to realize, right? Not everybody is going to like us. Not everyone is our ideal client, and it's okay, right? It's really okay.
Yeah.
Don't worry about pleasing everyone. You need to be happy with yourself, your business, where you're going in life, and hopefully you create that support system that helps keep you up there and not drag you down to where they want to be miserable as well.
Absolutely. I think it's hard enough. There's so much we get to focus on when you're doing your brand. There's so much you get to focus on with the customer journey that if you focus on everybody's customer journey, it's really hard. If you can focus on your ideal client's customer journey, there are enough variations in that and customization in that to keep you plenty busy. You don't need to be trying to convince that 25% of the people that you're something great, because you're not theirs. It's okay.
Right. And Linda Ray has a question, and then we'll take a brief break for a message from our sponsor, StreamYard. Linda says, maybe it's just me, but how do people go about getting super specific about creating a persona to attract their ideal client avatar?
Yay, it's not just you, Linda Ray, and thank you so much for that question. You get to go through all these different pieces. your visuals, your language, your mannerisms, your legend response system, how you respond when things hit the fan, how you respond when things don't go the way they're supposed to. And often it is your natural tendencies. Often it is that most authentic, your greatest self. It's not when you're having a bad day and that's how you responded. Like, try not to base your brand on your bad day. But in that ideal, this is how I want to be seen, and this is how I naturally show up. This is what my ideal clients bring out in me. This is how my genius gets to show up. Those are the pieces of your persona. And then once you have established those, and by the way, they just like every other piece of your brand, it gets to evolve with you. But once you get that foundational pieces put in place, then you can say, this is how I show up always. It doesn't get to stop just because it's an email versus a Facebook Live. It's consistent across the board. And that's what makes it truly your persona and make sure you are felt and unforgotten.
That is awesome. And Nina says that she is my tribe. I love joining great conversations. This convo is epic.
Nina, let's make sure we connect. I like being in your tribe already.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being here. We're going to take a brief break for a 15-second message from our sponsor, the amazing StreamYard live streaming platform. And then we'll be right back. See you soon. Do, 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 do. And we're back.
Yeah, with the cool music.
We are back. Thank you.
So Tim, we have to tell the funny story though too. Believe it or not, the music in our opening video, it was funny because when I asked Tim, I was like, Tim, what kind of music do you like? And it's like, we don't have the same musical taste, but somehow we were able to agree on that. So that was pretty good. That I mean, he liked Billy Joel, but and I like Billy Joel, but he's not necessarily someone you see as giving you music that's going to get you rocking right out of the gate. So true story.
I like Billy Joel.
Yes.
We all like him.
All right, Jim, you want to take the next question for Amber?
Yes. So how can we create a brand that is seen, felt, and memorable?
You get to start at the very beginning. And part of it is consistency. Absolutely. Because once you create that persona, you create the rest of the brand, you get to be seen and you get to show up that way everywhere you have seen. Like we started talking about before the break. If it's a Facebook Live, it is a social post. If it is your email, one of the things I see a lot of is people are really great face-to-face and we're really great in person. And then we sit down to create some kind of a sales component. And every single muscle in our body clenches and it cuts off circulation to our personality. And what shows up is very clinical and very sterile and very salesy. But it's one of those things when people say, I don't want to feel pushy and salesy. Well, if you're not a pushy person, you're not going to come across pushy unless you cut off circulation to your persona and show up salesy. So part of it is in being true to who you really are and how you want to work with people. And that's part of showing up in your zone of genius because it allows you to deliver your thing, your genius in a way that is magic to you. You get to package it the way you want to. And part of that is being seen. That's the visuals, it's the language. But the felt part really comes from putting your ideal client at that forefront and realizing that even though they don't dictate your genius, you get to pay attention to their customer journey. You get to say, this piece is going out and I get to reach you where you already are. And not just because you're a newbie in business, because you've been there for 20 years. But how aware are you that you have a problem? How aware are you that there is a solution? How aware are you that there is a problem, there's a solution, and I'm that solution? I mean, when you talk about funnels, they are so single dimensional to me because when you pay attention to that client journey, it is multidimensional, multifaceted, and it is all about where are you and how can I get to you where you are, speak to you in a way that resonates, and really help you understand that here's the solution and your life can be really amazing. And part of that realization, again, so many layers, that's why I love branding. Part of that realization is that your customer isn't your customer just because they paid you cash. Your customer, that's very old school. You can't pay me yet, go away till you can. Or here's a freebie until you can. And then once you pay me, you're my customer. And when our time together is over, you are not my customer anymore. it's a very transactional way of being. And regardless of how you intend to come across, if that is how your customers feel you, it feels transactional. They feel like they were just a line item, right? They don't feel like you saw them as people. But if you realize that the second they become your client is when they start paying you attention. They come into your world and go, hey, what's going on over there? They're your client. And so when you pay attention to the customer journey, it's not this one little segment. It's all this beforehand, all this afterward, and understanding the ins and outs and where they get to involve with you and where they jump off for a little bit and come back on, and having some place for them to go and be and still stay connected with you after the transaction is huge. Because then it's like, no, really, this is relationship building. This isn't I'm on your payroll. It's taking you from I'm charging my, the people say all the time, I don't want to charge money for my time. I want to charge for my expertise. When you say, here's what I do for you, and that's when you're my client, it's very much, I just charged for my minutes. I'm exchanging pennies for minutes. And it ruins that client experience. They're like, awesome, I just bought a candy bar and there was nothing to it. And buying a candy bar can be a whole nother client experience. It can be a memorable thing. So when you walk away, you're like, there was this one time I bought this Snickers and it was the coolest thing because the clerk said this and the music was this, and it can be a big deal and you can be felt and remembered. Does that help? That makes sense?
Yes. And I started thinking about Three Musketeers bars.
Oh, too marshmallowy for me. I want to have some peanuts.
What is your favorite candy bar, Amber? Or do you like candy?
I'm not a huge candy bar fan, but anything with caramel is harder for me to resist. So,
okay.
Yeah, any kind of caramely, a little bit of nougat is okay. Dark chocolate is a must, or I will get my calories elsewhere.
Cool. So let us know, everyone in the comments, what your favorite candy bar is or a treat, because everybody is getting hungry now. I know I am.
It's true.
And Amber, you bring up another thing too. I mean, really, by getting away from transactional and making it more of a relationship, which it should be. I mean, Brian Kramer and his wife Courtney talk about the human to human H2H connection. That's how you can actually grow your business, because when people know, like, and trust you, they're going to refer business to you. Where if you're just a if they're just a transaction, like, you don't come top of mind.
Yeah. I think part of it is that know, like, and trust. It's very old school thinking. And I think it's because we leave it as this one liner. We don't realize what kind of depth can be in there. The no, awesome, you're an authority. I see all your stuff. Clearly, you know your stuff. Great. Like I see you, we kind of, our personalities kind of seem like you're okay. But that trust comes from, when I engage with you, will I be taken care of? Will I matter to you as a person in my situation? Will I be judged for where I'm coming in? Where I'm coming in with you? That's where that trust, it's not just, will you hose me? It's not will you take advantage of me? Will I get hosed? It's, can I trust you with my reputation? Can I trust you with my time? And will you take care of me the entire time we're connected? It's a bigger deal than people realize, I think.
Absolutely.
Amber, do you have any favorite brands yourself?
I love Coca-Cola. I love Coca-Cola. I've been studying them since I was probably 12. Wow. It started, I think, because my father had one of those big red, I'm totally dating myself, this was at least 40 years ago, had a great big Coke mug, like enough caffeine to kill a cow, right? But that's what he carried around with him. And so if I was really lucky, if I was helping him on a project, I could have sips of Coca-Cola. But I started listening to their music, I started listening to their taglines, and started watching the way they handle things. And even though their tagline has changed like 40, 50 times now over the years, their brand has never changed. Their brand has always been, have a Coke and a smile, or some variation thereof. This is a joyful experience and you should share it. I mean, their 1971 commercial, the Hilltop commercial, it's one of my favorite. It chokes me up. It is such a great commercial, and it still remains one of those amazing, loved, remembered commercials. It's housed in the Library of Congress because it's that impactful.
Wow. It's at the end of Mad Men.
It is. It is. It's just one of those iconic things. And Coca-Cola has always been like, it's kind of like when they put out the new Coke and everybody kind of went, what did you just do, Ray? Like, what is that? And they took it back off. And there were some people who I think didn't understand it, going, wow, way to be dictated to. And I thought, no, they're understanding their customer journey, and the customers had a voice, and Coca-Cola heard it and took it off. And that's how it came across, was, we're here for you. If you don't like it, it's out. So it's been fun to watch their progress.
So Amber, when are you going to come to Atlanta so we can take you to visit Coca-Cola headquarters?
Oh my gosh. I don't know when it's safe.
I know some people there.
Do you really?
Yes, I do.
Worked for Coca-Cola for a while, freelance here in Utah. They had some other people here, but yeah. Oh, I will totally come out and play. That'll be so fun.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
What's your favorite brand, Tim?
Dunkin' Donuts.
I was going to say, I think you have a new brand who is one of my favorite brands.
What's that?
It's Apple.
Oh, do not go there. I just bought a Mac, Amber. I've been a PC guy for a long time. And now I have my Mac over there, and I have a PC that I'm on right now, actually.
But
don't tell the Mac, you'll hurt its feelings.
You just raised up your phone, right? Missed opportunity. Why isn't it branded for you, Jim?
That's a good question, because I don't like putting it in a case. I like to look at the Apple.
Do you work for Apple?
Diehard fan.
Not yet. But we're willing to work for Apple for computers.
Free advertising right there. You're welcome,
tech.
Apple.
Yes. I have like 3 iPads, an iPhone, MacBook, iMac, Apple TV. Yeah, so you can say I like Apple.
Android all the way.
Yes. And also not branded.
Oh,
sorry.
I'm telling you, especially when you could be live and you go to a networking event and they're like, pull out your phone, because by the way, we should be doing that. If you actually want to be connected, you should be able to readily get access to each other. But they pull it out and go, oh my gosh, that's your logo. I'm like, yeah, it's kind of what I do.
So Tim, what we should do is we should come up with some cases, Tim and Jim Shw phone cases for people.
That'd be awesome.
Oh, you totally should.
Yes.
Your logo's right there. Just put it on a case. It's super slick. I'll send you a link. It's easy.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Amber. This has been great. Junaid says he's an Apple fan here.
That's okay.
Come on over to the dark side, folks.
I don't know what to call myself. I have both now. What are those people called?
Confused.
Open-minded.
Yeah, basically. See, look at the difference in perspective there.
Equal opportunist. It's all good.
I love it.
I like a lot of Google products. I mean, yeah, so definitely some good stuff by Google as well.
Yeah, definitely. So Amber, tell people how they can find out more about you on your website or social media, whatever you want to share. That would be great.
You know what? You should come play in my Facebook group, because it's really, really great. It's called Welcome to Legend, and you can just search it by that. And there's information in there. I pop in and we do lives. We have conversation. So it's just Welcome to Legend. And it's really is kind of that first step of, okay, count me in. I'm putting my name here. You can also go to yourbrandbydesign.com/ready to be known. And you can get some more tips on how to make sure that your legend pack is full and your persona is showing up in each level.
I love that.
Yes, I want to check out the Welcome to Legend for sure, because
you should come play.
Me too.
That'll be fun.
Yes, definitely. So next week,
legends are not made on their own, so you have to do it together.
That's right. And of course, now I'm thinking of the Will Smith movie, I Am Legend. See, we're going down that legend track.
We could just talk all day. The conversation is just continuing and continuing. We'll just make it an 8-hour show. How about that?
There we go.
Anyway, thank you everyone for tuning in. Next week, we're going to have Michelle Markey, who is another Dunkin' fan, who is going to talk about how to tell your authentic story. So we're super, if I can talk, excited to have her on next week. So thank you, Amber. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. And we'll see you next week for another episode of the Tim and Jim Apple and PC show. Bye.
Rock on.